impressive off seasons. And so you have Kansas City that was kind of the most lukewarm. I mean, they made the brilliant decision to get rid of Tyreek Hill, had a brilliant draft, helped out their defense exponentially, which is extremely wise after everything else that's going to be in the division. You have the Las Vegas Raiders, who traded for Devontae Adams, had an okay draft themselves, but also have a new offensive-minded coach in Josh McDaniels from the Patriots. Then you have the Los Angeles Chargers, who had a pretty good draft by all accounts as well, and then they overloaded on defensive talent. They traded for Khalil Mack. They signed a few guys. And then you have, obviously, the coup de grace of the Denver Broncos, trading for who you and I think is arguably the most underrated quarterback, I'm going to say maybe ever, kind of wasting away up in the Pacific Northwest. And Russell Wilson is now in the same division as Justin Herbert, David Carr, and Patrick Mahomes.
Well, I'm not sure if you can say wasting away. When he did, I know it was a long time ago, but he won a Super Bowl. He went to another. They made the playoffs a lot. They won a lot of playoff games. But the last few years have certainly seemed like a waste. I think this is fascinating because I would say is great as it's been to watch and as interesting as it'll be to see play out on the field. I think some of these teams made very poor decisions in going for it now. You have Kansas City, who they're not ready to relinquish the throne yet. I'm not saying that they're going to win the AFC West or win the Super Bowl, but they haven't fallen off all the way yet. In a few years, I think Kansas City will kind of fall off to be really a 500-ish team, or maybe a little bit above 500, but not a true contender, because with the contracts that they have, especially Mahomes, I don't think that they can keep this up unless they really just unbelievably...
I'll be honest, I will slightly disagree with that, because I would have agreed with you if they would have signed that Tyreek Hill deal. However, we were just talking about the Golden State Warriors and their kind of soft reset. This is kind of the same thing, to where they overloaded on the defense in the draft, so they don't have to pay for a lot of these skill players on defense that they have, to where like it feels like Kansas City's kind of the one that's kind of easing off a little bit, to where what you're talking about doesn't happen. Because if they signed Tyreek Hill, it would have.
I absolutely agree with you. They have done everything they can, smart roster management wise, to continue winning in spite of the Mahomes contract. I'm just not convinced until I see it that it's going to be enough. We've talked about the $50 million cap hits before. It's really untenable. They did the right thing. If you pay Tyreek $30 million a year and have Mahomes' contract, you're absolutely a 500 season in a few years. For like 500 seasons, like year in and year out. There's no doubt about that. They have done everything they can to, obviously they didn't pay Tyreek. They have hopefully replaced him with mini Tyreek and Sky Moore. Of course, that's the goal. But as you've talked about with them bringing in all of this defensive talent in the draft, they've got to hit on it. And if they have even an average, but especially if they have a below average hit rate in the next several drafts, they're kind of still done with that contract, because they're not going to have enough cap space to fill those holes in free agency. So that's where Kansas City you could have waited on, right? Then you look at Denver. Denver for years has felt like they're a quarterback away. Really, since they won their last Super Bowl, the shell of Peyton Manning. I don't even want to say Peyton Manning, because I don't want to act like he was part of that Super Bowl win, because honest to God, Brock Osweiler, who was there, Brock Osweiler, who was bitter and was there, would have also won that Super Bowl. Not that he's not a great quarterback. This is not an endorsement of Brock Osweiler. Since then, they've still felt like they're a quarterback away, and they haven't gotten it. Now we both agree they've gotten their quarterback. He came at a hefty price. Draft capital-wise, player-wise, they gave up some good players. Defensive, offensive, you gave up Noah Fant. You gave up the defensive end, whose name escapes me at the moment. Very good players. Obviously, the cap space that Russ takes. But you're in a win-now mode. You're trying to win in these next couple years. You're trying to get this window of your team. So now you have two teams that are still absolutely going for closing Super Bowl windows. Then you have the Raiders. And the Raiders have been stuck in purgatory. They made the playoffs last year, but they haven't been in any season what we would think of as a contender. I think you would agree with that. I happen to like Derek Carr. Some people think Derek Carr is one of the problems. Yeah, that's perfect. Some people think Derek Carr is one of the problems. I don't at all. I think he's a pretty darn solid quarterback. He's just been on a mediocre team. That's what it's been. And I don't think he's a top 3 superstar, but I think he's a pretty darn solid quarterback that you can win with. But I don't think that roster's quite there. And we saw over the years, they've made a lot of perplexing picks. You had, what is his name? The defensive end from Clemson, Farrell.
Cleveland Farrell.
It is Cleveland Farrell. I thought it was, but I was like, maybe that's
at number 4 overall, if I'm not mistaken.
And it was a perplexing pick at the time. It was kind of a low floor. You thought hopefully high floor, low ceiling guy, character guy, right? Someone who
an Aiden Hutchinson, if you will.
No, don't do that. Do not do that. No, so much. He did not have the upside, Aiden. You stop that right now. I know you're trolling. You got to stop. But a lot of perplexing stuff like that kind of kept them being a mediocre team, kind of doing the Bob Quinn where we're picking depth pieces when we should be picking difference-making starters. That's held Oakland back. So they're not, I don't think that they were ready to jump to a contender in a single offseason. And then you look at the Chargers. And the Chargers, to me, did the most egregious thing. Even though I'm excited to see it play out, they got impatient. They have a young quarterback on a rookie contract that they think is really good, and they're like, let's go for it. The thing is, it's just not the time in this division. Let the other teams blow their load, and in a few years when Denver's a mess, when KC is not what they are, when you have your quarterback who's seasoned veteran, and then you can bring in guys and then go for it all and try to close your window. And I get they want to do it on the rookie deal, but signing guys like Mike Williams to $20 million deals kind of negates the fact that Justin Herbert's only
I have a devil's advocate point, though, because you were just talking about how Kansas City having $50 million for Patrick Mahomes, and you're saying, oh, we'll just wait until Justin Herbert's more seasoned. Well, his rookie deal's going to be up, and then they're going to have to pay him more than Mahomes is going to, with the way that the inflation of these quarterback contracts are going to be. So why wouldn't they try to do it?
Not. I wouldn't think so. And what they can do, they have options there, right? So of course you can franchise him, and because of the threat of the franchise, you can, if you extend him earlier, because you're going to, after this offseason, after this season, I believe he's eligible for an extension. This is the second year. I think you're eligible after the third year. He should be eligible for a full extension. You do it right away so you can save a lot of money. And the looming franchise tags, which are less than he's going to get on a deal, you hope that is incentive to sign a deal, maybe make it team friendly. Furthermore, because you have the fifth year price baked in, he's already on his rookie contract, you can spread those cap hits and at least you can create yourself a 3-4 year window easily where the deal is palatable. And it might kill you down the road, but you can basically have a second rookie deal for him while you don't have to contend with prime Kansas City and prime Denver. There's no easy answer when you have to pay a quarterback. There's not. And I get trying to win with a quarterback on his rookie deal. I just think when you factor your division is really difficult. It's the best in football. You have 2 teams minimum that think they're Super Bowl contenders, minimum. Then look at the rest of the AFC. You still have the Bills. Are the Bills going anywhere next year?
Nope.
So I just think, and listen, it's hard. These are tough decisions to make.
Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. You know I be on a what?